Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. Good morning. We're back, and it's cold. It has been down in the 20s at night, and I know a bunch of you guys are gonna say, "Oh, too bad," but that's cold for around here. So we're back. Hopefully, everybody had a great Thanksgiving with their families. Yeah, a little bit of a short video last week. I actually had to combine 2 weeks in a row just because the kids down at the school were on vacation, so just had to get it to them when I could. But anyways, we're back. Got quite a bit on our plates this week. I think Lewis has got 3 basement airs, and then we got an Invisa shield we got to take off. So things are kind of rolling in this morning. I mean, it's been terribly slow, but there was a bunch of stuff that got approved, a lot of parts that have come in, so definitely is helping the situation a little bit. But yeah, it's you know, again, we talk about this. This is kind of my nerve-wracking time of the year. Is always Thanksgiving to March, because you know, especially right now, everybody's worried about Christmas, and then after Christmas, they're worried about how they're going to pay for Christmas. So RVs sometimes are the last thing on their list that they're worried about. But anyways, so I got to go down here right quick and help Mr. Wade. He's got a propane question he needs me to help him with, and then we've got, like I said, we got an Invisa shield and our basement air we'll get rolling on, and the boys have some stuff up there in the bays I'll get some video of. But there you go. Welcome back. All right, so next project in the shop is this Neptune. Got the 3M shield on the front of it. We're going to be working on taking that off today. Just a few spots that we came across on here that had some fiberglass damage, but other than that, not too bad. So we're starting on that one now. All right, so here's several hours worth of work. You can see that one paint chip there, and there was a spot right there. But the rest of it is cleaned up really nice. Now you can see where we still have a little bit of shield right there to take off, but that's just still glue. But the top, other than that spot and this spot, has been worked. But most of the shield is off, other than the bottom brow. But yeah, coming along very nicely, and it's looking really good. All right, so here's another one all finished up. Turned out awesome. Shield is gone. Looks great. He's heading on. Next project in the shop here is this Winnebago Journey. Now this is a 6538 that has the fan in the rear. It does not have one in the bottom. And so Lewis actually ran this on test box. Great numbers. Everything works great. They have put in a micro air thermostat, but just a second ago, it started freezing up the outdoor freeze sensor on heat. And so we jumped that out, as you can see. Well, we got to doing some more double checking, and the fan is locked up. So I don't know, as it was running, and this may have been the problem that it was having, the fan was getting hot and quit working. But bad part is capacitor's in there with the fan, so we're going to have to pull it out and see what's going on. All right, so you can see Mr. Lewis has got this one out, and capacitor's mounted right there. It's supposed to measure out at 7.5, and that one was measuring out at like 1.1 or something. 1.17. So obviously this motor, I can feel it, is plenty hot. So what was happening was capacitor was low, motor was struggling, and overheating. This thing would load up, trying to run, freeze sensor kick out because no airflow. So now that we got that resolved, we're going to retest. All right, Mr. Lewis has got the basement air back in this one. It was making 35 on heat and 22 on air. So just that capacitor on the fan motor being bad was causing a lot of problems. The other issue is, and this is why it's up here in this shop, is you can see that little 1.5 inch Valterra valve is bad. So he's got to go in here this morning and get that changed out and retest on that. The next one in the shop is this Coleman Pursuit. This is the one that had the body damage in the back of it that you saw that we did a bunch of repair on, and it had a bad roof. The roof was damaged also. So they've got everything pulled off of here, and this is a vacuum bonded roof, so it's got the real thin plywood. But the other issue was they had this bowed down so much when they stapled it that there was actually a valley in here, so this thing was puddling water real bad. The other issue was these staples were pushing out. It actually was pushing a hole in the membrane. So once they got into this, obviously was a little bit of a water issue that was going on up here. So we're actually going to reskin this with some 1/2 inch plywood, because you can see that gap's about a 1/2 inch. And if we do that, then this will be straight and the water will come off the roof instead of being pushed down and building water inside there. So gonna do this a little bit different than what the manufacturer did, just because we want the water to get off the roof. That's another Winnebago journey that came in the shop. Mr. Lewis is working on it, and it is another 6538 with the rear fan. And he did find that one of the capacitors was low. Obviously just gonna go in here and do a cleaning, get it all serviced out, and then we're going to put it back on the test bench and start seeing what we got. But yeah, this cap was way low, so he's just going to give it a bath, and then we'll start testing some more. So Mr. Lewis has got this one cleaned and ran. Now this compressor has the correct amp draw. This one's only got about 3. And so we got to really looking to see if we had any leaks or anything of that nature. And what Mr. Lewis found out was, if you look down here on this capillary tube, this tube here was actually into that tube right there. And there's actually a hole wore into that capillary tube on this TXV valve. Now, this is obviously a little bit of an odd unit. Coleman didn't do this for very long because they went back to biflow valves in the bottom of that. So this unit here is going to be a little bit of problematic. Plus, the fan motor on these is no longer available. They used a little bit of a 1-speed outdoor fan. That fan is no longer available. So we've got TXVs that Coleman does not supply anymore, and a bad fan motor. The fan motor's good, but the fan motor can't be replaced because there is no parts for it. So, solution is we have a complete, ready to go 6538 right here. And so we're going to take this one and put it in its place. And then that other one will probably just find a home somewhere else. Well, good morning. So it was actually 67 degrees here at the shop yesterday. It was actually a pretty nice day. And you can see what's going on this morning. It's snowing. Welcome to beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. All right, so the boys have got the 1/2 inch plywood up here on the roof of this camper. Now, remember, that was not sitting right. So now they'll go through and they'll get this attached correctly, and the water will actually come off the roof of this thing instead of puddling up inside here, because now this is even with the roof. So everything's going to work the water off the roof now, where before, all the way around this thing, it was puddling on the ends. So kind of a bad deal, but yeah, putting that over there and fixing that this way will make this water run better off the top of this. All right, so the emergency management bus is back in. They Cleveland had their annual Christmas parade, and so they brought this back up to me last weekend because the furnaces inside the coach weren't working, and what we determined was there was a bad solenoid. The propane tank is probably midship up underneath there, so it's got a remote solenoid to turn the propane on and off. And so the boys determined that the solenoid was bad, but there was nothing we could do for it that day. So the bus is back in here this morning. I was in here late yesterday. and they determined that it did have a bad solenoid, and we're going to go ahead and change the gas regulator while we're there because it looks to be of age. Now, another problem they were having was with their generator, and in the summertime it starts great. Wintertime they're having to hit it with they're having to give it a little snorkel of ether to get it started. It is a little Perkins diesel. Let me show you what I found, and then we'll talk about what we got going on. All right, so what I did was I got to check it in here. This is the power rail for the glow plugs. Each one of those is a glow plug. And so what we determined with our meter was that when we turned the preheat switch, there is 12 volts on the rail. So we know the switch is applying power, 12 volt power to that. Now, those glow plugs between 3 and 5 amps is really where they're going to pull amp draw, because it does take quite a bit to heat that. So you can see I've got my clamp on meter going right here, and I'm going to turn the preheat on, and you can see that doesn't change. So again, 3 to 5 amps is what that thing would normally be pulling. It takes a lot of power to get those glow plugs warmed up and ready. So there's obviously a problem with those glow plugs. So I'm gonna have that conversation with them this morning, and then they've actually got a diesel mechanic that works on all their diesel stuff. So he's coming up here this morning, and we're gonna go over that, because I don't even know where to start looking for Perkins diesel parts. So he's gonna come up here today, and we're gonna let him dive into that little problem. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. And of course, being cold, you know, got to have those glow plugs this time of winter. So when it starts cooling off, those glow plugs are very key to what's got to happen around here. So anyways, he'll be up here in a little bit. Take a look at that. My old forklift that I've had for years and years and years. We call it Old Betsy, but people always ask me what year I think that is. I put a master cylinder for the brakes on it several years ago, and the master cylinder was out of a 1951 Hudson Hornet, which was kind of interesting. But as you can see, I got the cylinder out of it. Now, I repacked this probably 5 or 6 years ago. Had a little bit of an issue with the seal, but yeah, it's got a little bit of an odd cloth seal that goes on there, and the cylinder place here in Chattanooga is able to get that for me. They had to special order it because they don't stock it. But yeah, putting a seal in that. So there you go. I mean, I don't just work on RVs. I sometimes have to fix my own equipment. Of course, probably a 1951, 52 forklift. So the odds that even anybody wants to touch that, I just get stuck working on it. So I had the reverse gear go out of it last year, and a real good friend of mine, I had him pick it up, and he took it to his house and worked on it, and I don't know how in the world the guy did it, but literally found the original transmission gear somewhere. It was like the last one in the world, but yeah, he put a transmission gear in for me, and that's why it's back. So just trying to slow the oil leak down. It does work pretty good down there at the other office. Just unload a few quick trucks. But yeah, 1951, there you go. Let me show you a roof we're working on. All right, well, you can see we redecked this, which actually brought this up level so the water can come off of that. So there's the PVC getting ready to go back on there, but they'll be rolling that on today. And then we'll start working on fixturing and getting it close to being finished up. All right, so we're going to talk about 6538 here in the shop. I've actually got three different ones sitting in here, but there are 3 different styles of 6538, and I'm going to show you why. So let's take a look at these. All right, so this is a 6538 B871, and this one right here is a 6538-751. Now, the biggest difference between these two is the 751 has the rear-facing outdoor fan along with thermal expansion, thermal expansion valves. So you can see the expansion valves down in here, where the one that we see the most of, the 6538B models, actually have the piping for the biflow valves. Now, obviously with the TXVs, they were trying to be a lot more energy efficient with what they had, but the problem we run into now is the TXVs, the only TXVs available are universal ones that you got to go in there and kind of set and play with your levels to get them right. And then Coleman has stopped selling this outdoor fan motor, and I have tried several HVAC places, and there's not really a good close match for that motor. So now you're looking at a unit with a motor that's no longer available, and the thermal expansion valves, which obviously are problematic at best because there are some universal ones, but they're a pain. This is the one that we see the most of, and we do have the biflow valves in stock. We've actually got every part in stock for this unit other than the coils, but the biflow valves obviously make this thing a little bit simpler to work on. Now, keep in mind that this unit here originally was the 751, which did have the outdoor fan like we just talked about. Now, what Mr. Lewis and I have done is we've actually come in here and we have taken the thermal expansion valves out of this system and actually gone in here and made and replaced with biflow valves, bent the copper, did all that, and then we have updated the fan, outdoor fan, with a modern style fan, which obviously is available. Now, the one thing Mr. Lewis will have to do, because see how that one's got a hole in the back, we will have to take that sheet metal right there for this one and close that up, because obviously we want the air pulling from the coil and ejecting out the bottom. So this is kind of a new deal that we're doing here. Nobody's ever really done this, because I was told that you couldn't run this unit without TXVs. Obviously, you see it. I got it doing it. So we're going to get the covers on it here in just a few minutes, and we're going to do a test on it to see what the temperatures are, and show that this can be done and done the right way. One of the projects the boys worked on yesterday is this big ellipse. Now, that slide out topper was broken, had an issue. So I ordered in a brand new one from Carefree of Colorado. Now that's a 25-foot slide out topper. I ain't never even seen one that big. I don't know if you can see it from the video right here. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in a little bit. That is a seam. That's a seam right there. So Carefree ships that in 2 pieces, and you gotta assemble the shield, you gotta assemble the tube, and then feed it all together. That's the biggest slide out topper we've ever done. Massive. Of course, I was down dealing with some customers yesterday, and while they were working on that, so I didn't get no video of that. But yeah, that thing it's definitely monstrous. So, but they got it all on. It's working good. Full wall slide in a camper that size. What could go wrong? Well, good morning. A little on the chilly side, and look at that thing right there. You ever seen such a interesting piece of lawn art before? I don't know. They come in my parking lot and then, ask for help, and that's what ends up happening. But you probably know this guy, and that's who that lawn art belongs to out there. So there you go. So I guess you're in here today. They are doing that right there. What is that?
It's a Gen Y executive conversion hitch, so it turns your kingpin into a 5th wheel, and it's got 4 little squares of rubber in there that acts as a torsion bar, and so it dampens the impact on the camper.
Okay, so he was running an Anderson hitch, which a lot of my customers really like Anderson. Why are you getting away from Anderson? Anderson's supposed to be great, man.
I do like the Anderson. I've used it 40,000 miles. I've never had much of an issue. Any issue I've ever had, they've took care of. I always say it's a great hitch on a lighter camper. I definitely wouldn't use it up around its upper limits. It's not cracked. It's not give me any problems, but I just don't want the base to have to deal with in the bed anymore. This allows me to just use a fifth wheel ball and
Gotcha.
just not have
Gotcha.
anything there. Don't have to worry about getting ready before a trip.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, like I said, we're going to dive into that. The boys are standing here waiting for me to stop talking to him so they can go to work. You know, just holding up the show. That's what I do some days, you know. So we're going to get going on this and kind of show you guys what we're going on. But, yeah, this guy is literally paying me to hang out in my shop today. That's the way it goes some days, right?
Yep.
All right, we're going to get rolling. All right, so they've got it all installed. Going to hook him up now. All right, so we got the gimpy camper all finished up. He had a little bit of an issue with that Gen Y fifth wheel hitch. There was a little block inside that when you set it down on the ball, it didn't trip correctly. And so he'd called them and they said, "Oh, we don't know what's going on. We're going to send you another one." Well, there's a little casted piece inside there that triggers the latch. And I just took a file and just barely knocked it down, and worked perfect. So he's loaded up and gone. So thanks to the gimpy camper. All right, so the boys have been working on the emergency management bus, and we got in a new solenoid and a new regulator. It appears we got it all in there. So let's find out where they're at on testing this. See if they've got all those problems resolved. Well, that's gonna finish us up here this week. You know, it's obviously slowed down quite a bit. You know, we're one more week of work and then we're off the week of Christmas. So we had a few things come in. I've got some basement airs coming up next week that we're on the schedule to get pushed through. So we're gonna get those done. But yeah, one full week before Christmas. And then yeah, we're just around the corner from a new year. So yeah, so the boys. I mean, it's a little bit on the slow side. There's been a few things that have been coming in, but the reality of it is, right here for Christmas and New Year's, you know, everybody's worried about Christmas, and then they're worried about how they're going to pay for Christmas. So hadn't been a ton of stuff coming in, which you know, par for the course this time of year. You know, I've talked in a lot of my videos that you know, December through March always seems to be my most nervous time of the year, just because, you know, the holidays and people really ain't camping. So it is what it is. But we got some other stuff on the books coming through for some jobs, some other stuff. We'll keep the boys busy. But there you go. So I would say this video's cousin Gary Cruve, but he's down at the other office getting things shut down. So thanks for watching. Got a week before Christmas. Hope you got all your Christmas gifts bought. We'll see you next week. Y'all take care.